Hey everyone, Pastor Wes here with you on Wednesday night. Hope you're doing well. Hope fall break is going good for everybody. Last week we were talking about verse 15 and 16 in Ephesians chapter 1. And one of the things that we had ended talking about was the difference between knowing about God versus knowing God. Knowing about God is mental assent or head knowledge. Knowing God is all about having an intimate heart knowledge that comes from an intimate daily walking and talking relationship with God. God is being able to experience God's presence moving through us and in us and around us at all times. That's knowing God versus just knowing about God. I was thinking about Paul. There was a point in Paul's life where he knew about God. He knew about Jesus of Nazareth, but he didn't believe in Jesus. He didn't believe on him for salvation. He even held the coats of those who were stoning Stephen, one of the church's first deacons. And he was a man that zealously persecuted the first Christians, was openly out for their blood. But as we know, one day on his way to Damascus to persecute Christians there, he was blinded by this bright light that literally knocked him to the ground. And in Acts chapter 9, it says that he heard a voice saying to him, "Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me?" And he answered, "Who art thou, Lord?" The Lord spoke back and he said, "I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest." And then later would go on to write to the Philippians, and he'd say, "Yea, doubtless, and I count all things but loss for the excellency of the knowledge of Christ Jesus my Lord." What a transformation, what a change that took place in the life of Paul on that road to Damascus. By the time he writes to the church at Philippi, there's nothing else that mattered to him except for knowing Jesus Christ and having an intimate relationship with him and God the Father. Nothing was of any worth, nothing was any value or significance to him except for that. All things were considered a loss to him except the knowledge, knowing who Jesus Christ truly is in an intimate relationship. And listen, Paul wasn't an ignorant man by any means. He was a man that spoke several languages. He was a very affluent man. He was intellectual. He was articulate. He was a prolific writer. He spoke very clearly and zealously about the things that he believed. And he was a man that could bring great order, great structure to ideas. He was of the tribe of Benjamin, which means he was the tribe which kings came from. He was part of the Sanhedrin, which was the ruling body of Judaism. He was a man that was to be respected from all points of human view. But when he came to know Jesus Christ, nothing else mattered to him in this life. And his prayer was that the Ephesians would know God as he really is. He knew that if they came to the knowledge of him, then nothing else would matter to them. Their love for God would multiply. And it's because when we love someone, we can never know enough about them. We are always wanting to grow in the knowledge of them. And although until we get to heaven, we'll really never fully know God. And, nevertheless, it still should be our lifelong pursuit to get to know God more, to get to know him in a greater way. He always has more wisdom to impart to us than we're able to even handle, more of his presence to bestow upon us, more of his power to grant, more of his love to pour out into our lives, more of his mercy, more of his grace. We meet people that all the time that talk about how they know Greek, they know Hebrew, they know church history and protocol and doctrine and theology. But the question is, do you know God? Do you have an ongoing, intimate relationship with Jesus Christ? Do you know him? Because even if you know all those other things, they're going to fall in line to an order of less importance if you truly know God. Knowing God is the greatest knowing of all knowing. The good news to every Christian, to every believer out there, is that we can know him. We can know him greater every day. He said, "If you will draw near to me, I will draw near to you," which means that there's no limit to understanding and gaining knowledge of who God is. You can be as absolutely as close and intimate with God as you desire to be, as long as you're the one that is pursuing him and trying to know